And now, delving into the matter at hand, we will be taking a look at the off-season elections, particularly the KOGI state right now. We'll be taking a look at the aftermath of that election, what the various stakeholders still have to say, the analysis on the process, and what we could expect perhaps in the next off-season election, which is Edo State 2024, and subsequent general elections across all levels. I have now been joined by, in the studio here, by the Accord Party Youth Spokesperson. I'm talking about Comrade Danjuma. He joins me now to do justice to the matter. Comrade Samuel Danjuma, I might add. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, my brother.
It's good to have you.
Same here.
All right, just off the bat, I'd like to get your reaction to the entire process, your quick fire reaction before we start delving into specifics.
The elections on Saturday was a sham. And every right-thinking Nigeria and lovers of democracy should be weeping for the carriage that happened in KOGI State. It was, I would say, democracy was slaughtered on the altar of mediocrity. The election was a complete sham. Elections where results were already written on result sheets even before election votes were cast. Election that the figures could not be, are not figures that could be justified in some local governments. Elections that only 3 local governments gave the win to a candidate. We should all be weeping. I thought that INEC by now would have learned from the mistakes of February general elections and made a lot of improvement this time around, but it's as if every day INEC is getting worse and worse as the day goes by. We should be weeping. There was, I will told the line that there was no credible elections in KOGI on Saturday. There wasn't.
Well, you know, there are various reactions. The governor-elect and members of the ruling party, some have even come on the program to say it was very free and fair. I believe there is a narrative that if you win, it's free and fair. If you don't, it's not. But that being said, were there key issues, any specifics that you could point out that did not go right with you? There
were. Like I said, in Ogori-Magongo, it was on air that very day. Results were written in some polling units already on the result sheets. And even the result sheets that have been loaded on the INEC portal, you will see that there are lots of correction. You could see where they draw lines, cancellation on the result sheet, bundling of the result sheets, just trying to fortify figures and the rest of them. Now, let me draw our attentions back a little bit. In 2019, Okene local government, the present governor allotted a vote of 112,000 to himself. In February,
he allotted it, or
yes,
he got the votes.
No. Because in February, when the Beavers were there, the same local government hardly produced 40,000 votes. The APC got 20,000 votes and the PDP 12,000 votes from that same local government where we did the presidential and the National Assembly elections. Then just in February, then just in November, just a few days ago, the same local government produced close to 150,000 votes. Come on. So why do we keep everybody, even the ruling party, shouldn't celebrate? We should all be weeping because this is not an election. And I call on the authorities that thank God INEC has about 7 days to review the happenings in every election. In the next 7 days, there should be an announcement that election was cancelled, and in rerun and the new election they should be fixed because there was no election in KOGI as far as we're concerned.
All right, you know, we'll dive into more specifics, but you know, one might wonder. I believe one of those who has raised issues about this, and what I've gathered from your protest is that similar, you know, from your perspective, happened in 2019.
Yes, it did.
So I wonder, was there any preparations for these key areas, seen as similar had happened before? Because it seems as though everyone was aware of what they are alleging, and yet they didn't make specific steps to, you know, forestall this. You
know, as individuals, there's a level to which we have, INEC has the power. And INEC is supposed to be unbiased. So INEC is not supposed to take sides. We're expecting that INEC would have improved because they promised us before the elections that they were going to improve on they're out in February, and there's going to be a lot of improvement and changes, and everybody believed that INEC was going to improve. Even in the course of the election, there were letters from INEC that those areas that had issues were going to be looked into, and elections were going to be done, reruns were going to be done in about 59 polling units and the rest of them, and only for us to hear that INEC has declared the winner for the same election. So it shows that INEC was actually biased, INEC was partisan, INEC did not even go by their own guidelines.
All right. Now, what are you asking for? What are you seeking? We saw that the first runner-up, so to speak, the SDP candidate, made mention of not bothering with the courts, not having enough faith to go ahead with that process. Is there any plans for you to, contest this election?
Presently, my principal and our team has team of lawyers have been looking at the outcome of these elections. I've been looking at the irregularities and the rest of them, and checking relevant laws that guides our electoral process and the rest. And in the coming days, we'll make a profound statement on our next step of action. But the truth about it is, my principal rejects these results in totality. He has called for cancellation of those elections, and he has asked that a fresh date and a fresh election is conducted in Kogi State, so that the will of the people will prevail.
Does he believe he won this election?
The truth about it is, the process was met with irregularities, and with this, you can't even ascertain if truly, because we had issues where votes were casted, and on the sheets there were no place for accord votes to be recorded. We have votes where votes were casted for accord, and the truth about the matter is that there's a lot of irregularity between the SDP and the PDP and the APC. Sorry, where the APC had the upper hand, they did what they did, and where the SDP had the upper hand, they also did what they did, and that's why we have called for a total cancellation of those elections, and let's go back, fix a new date, and let the will of the people count. If the process is transparent, is free, fair, and credible, we don't have a choice. We'll accept whatever the outcome is. But for now, the process is not free, fair, and credible, and we're calling for a total cancellation of the elections.
So what would the opposition do differently if another opportunity arises for another election? Because people want to know at what point or to what extent can you take your own, should I call it destiny in your own hands, in terms of being able to checkmate some of these things? Because while the election was going on, we saw the PDP candidate releasing what he believed to be electoral malpractice and proof, as in real time. Is there something that you believe can be done, even no matter how far it can go?
The truth is, like what the PDP candidate did, I think it's high time we begin to expose most of those things, and because when you keep quiet, when evil is being done, it shows that you are accepting your partner with it. So what we can do is what we keep doing, enlightening the people to know their rights, and to know their votes is their power. And also, like my principal is a trained lawyer by profession, is someone who believes in the rule of law, is someone who believes that it should be guided by the principle of justice. So we will always tend through we'll always do the right thing and abide by the rules and regulation, and hope that INEC will not be biased. That's just all we can do.
All right. So let's talk about some of the Kogi State politics. Before we talk about the issue of security, which was something that there was worry about prior to the election, let's talk about the issue of zoning and what people call ethnic politics coming into play. Just the other day, an APC stalwart said that what happened on Saturday was a marriage, so to speak, between the Biras
and the
Okuns, and that it was a political revolution with the Okuns trying to, get a place in the ruling party and not be excluded, so to speak. Did you see that? Is that what really happened? Did the Biras and Okuns simply decide that, well, this is how we are going to cast our votes, and this is what would happen? No,
the truth about it is, in our constitution, there is no place for zoning. In democracy, in democracy,
all right,
it is said that the minority have their say, the majority have their way. Now, I don't believe in ethnic politics. I don't. I believe that the best candidate should emerge, and the best candidate should rule, because what matters to me is the betterment and the welfare of the people of the state and Nigeria in general. So I don't believe in ethnic politics, but the truth remains that you can't overrule that, because where you have a majority tribal presently has about 8 to 9 local governments to itself. You expect that ordinarily there should be every possibility that they will tend to vote for their own, and that doesn't mean that the Ibiras are not part of us or the Igalas are not part of us. Me as a person, in my family, I have an Ibira and I have an Igala also, which I am, and we have lived together as one. I think our politicians are just playing on our intelligence when it comes to them trying to justify their wrongdoing. They bring in ethnicity, religion, and to play. But the truth is, no, it's not about ethnicity. We have lived together as one from a time immemorial. We're together in Benue with the Domas. We left Benue for Kwara. We're together with them in Kwara. We left back to Benue and back to Kwara again before we came back to KOGI. So we have lived together as one. We have intermarried. We have histories together. So it's just that our politicians are just trying to be smart and trying to play the tribal sentiment and tribal card to just justify their wrongdoing. So I don't see it as it was a marriage between the Okuns and the Ibira. No. If you check from 1999, we have always had an Igala governor, an Okun deputy, or an Igala governor and a Ibira deputy, and we have always lived together. And when there have been harmony among we have coexisted peacefully. So it's just this club of politicians. This kind of politics has never happened in KOGI and has never happened anywhere. And we should all condemn it. This is not the right thing to do. This is not the right way to go. We should not bring in sentiment. We should always go for the best, not minding which tribe the person is. So it wasn't about remarrying. Even out when we're doing our consultations and our rallies, we got very good numbers of people from the West who were ready to support our cause and were ready to vote for our candidate. So it's not about being married. It's just politicians trying to justify the wrongdoings that happened, the carriage that happened on Saturday, and they are calling an election.
Is there anyone in particular that can be blamed for this? Who there have been allegations left and right. I'd just like to get your thoughts on what you think brought that ethnic element into this. Who might have, what parties or what bodies or stakeholders injected that ethnicity into this for their own purposes? The
present administration in KOGI State, His Excellency Yaya Deiza Bello, played this ethnic card from 2019. He has started playing it and it has worked for him, and he repeated it again in 2023 just to justify what he calls an election, because this is not an election by any standard. He is not even close to being credible in any way. So he has been the one playing this ethnic card, and with his friends who are now in the SDP, they all agreed together in 2019, and it's came through. So they've shown him the way, and he's already playing it, and he's playing it in the wrong way. It's not the best. I don't believe it. We shouldn't encourage it. We should condemn it. We should go for the best, and that's what I want.
Right, fair enough. Now, KOGI State is still, it was preached before the elections about continuity, and the APC now will be carrying on. And there have been talks about, this being an election about interest and everyone trying to get a place. What do you reckon is the way forward, or is going to happen in terms of that unity? The issue with having elections that are ethnically charged is that there is usually the aftermath of division, where people don't see themselves as one, or they feel they've got one over their brother or their neighbor. How do you envision this can be resolved, and everyone can be, returned to that idea of oneness?
First, we can't build on illegality. Like I said, this election needs to be cancelled, because it shouldn't stand the test of time, because we are setting a bad precedent for our children and our children who are unborn. Now, when there are issues like this, the elders have to be called from the 3 senatorial district to come together and agree and fashion out ways to resolve this issue. Then, to the acclaimed winner now, I think
what do you mean elders?
The elders of the state. We have elders of the states. We have political, religious, and ethnic elders in our states, the kings and the rest of them. They should come together in a dialogue and resolve this issue and preach peace and oneness to their subjects and the rest of them. Now, the party in power in KOGI State, it's high time they should stop celebrating that they won over the Igala nation and the rest of them. Instead, they should come up with policies and programs to unite the people together and see ourselves as one, and stop encouraging the bidders have won, the bidders are smarter. No, that's not what happened. If truly we went to the poll and it was a free, fair, and credible election, I think Kogi State would have won. The people of Kogi State would have won, not ethnicity, not tribe, and not religion.
All right, fair enough. The PDP candidates also alleged issues of vote buying. Is that something I believe you?
Yes. That's why I said every right-thinking Nigerian, every lover of democracy and good governance should weep, because in my polling unit, votes were being sold. It was like being in the market. Between the SDP and the APC, who was the highest bidder was going for. Some people were collecting money from both sides just to vote, and you realize that no, this is not what.
Even the SDP,
the lowest they were paying was 2,000 naira per vote. It was. I'm not just saying it. It's something I witnessed, and I wept.
They were meant to be sort of a third force. Do they have enough structure to do all of this?
What played out was most of those who worked for the SDP candidate when he was in the APC moved with him and continued with what they did in the February election. In the February elections, the SDP candidate then in the APC, where they were asking people to write names down in my local government and drop their account number because there was no cash in circulation then, and later money will be transferred to them. So they carried on what they started and brought it into the SDP and continued with it, and APC too did the same thing. We have issues where the local government chairman of Igala Mela Odolu was arrested with cash and ammunition and just on election day. So this shows that this is not an election. This is not an election. Every right-thinking Nigerian should come and condemn this process, and INEC should do the right thing within the 7 days of reviewing it, cancel this election, fix a new date, and let's go back to the poll.
All right. Again, on the issue of judiciary, is that something that is even under consideration in terms of how you think it can be approached? Do you believe there was enough evidence gathered or enough done to even make a case? We saw there's, not completely confirmed yet, but there are reports, I think you mentioned it too, that the IRF portal, there were some changes being made. Do you think perhaps this is the time to begin to gather what is needed to make a strong case, or is it that the judiciary is just a no-go area? No.
It's not that judiciary is just a no-go area. The mistake most candidates do is that we approach the judiciary with sentiments and emotion. It's simple. The law is simple. Get your facts. The judge doesn't judge based on emotions. He judges based on the facts you present before him. So I think our lawyers now and our candidates and the rest of them should get their facts properly and not just rush into the courts. Get your facts properly, get everything you need properly, and then approach the court. And certainly, we have seen cases where the issue of Natasha is an example of overvoting and the rest of them. And in appeal court, she got her verdict and got her mandate back. So I believe in the judiciary. All I want is get your facts proper and approach the judiciary, and surely you get justice. Judiciary still remains the hope of the last hope of the common man.
All right, that is fair enough. At this point, we will be looking towards governance and, the way things will move. You already said you can't build legality on illegality, but, politics is still being played in one form or another. If there was a chance, perhaps, and I believe the governor-elect has already reached out to everyone to come together and so on and so forth, is that something that is the Accord Party could consider in terms of contributing to the growth of the states?
I'll borrow the words of the candidate of the PDP, a senior brother of mine, and I'll say light and darkness has nothing in common. Like I've said, and I still maintain, you can't build on illegality. It's not possible. You have to do. I remember in 2007 when late President Yar'Adua came into power. He said, "I know that the process that brought me was not free, fair, and credible, but I promised that I was going to review our electoral process and the rest of that." And he matched word with action by setting up the Waste Committee to look into our electoral processes and come up with new laws and recommendations to better our electoral process. And some of those recommendations have been applied. It's just that INEC has always disappointed us at every opportunity given to them to prove themselves. So I don't see us. You can't call us to come together and legalize an illegality. No, it's not possible. My principal has been contributing to the betterment of the state, even not when he has not even aspired to be governor. And he has been part of the security architecture of Kogi State, and will still be contributing a quarter. But I maintain that this process should not be allowed to to stand the test of time. Now, when you talk about continuous governance, are we talking about continuity in half salary? Are you talking about continuity in percentage salary? Are we talking about continuity in insecurity and the rest of them? Even with the presence of security personnel in KOGI on Saturday, about 4 lives were lost. People were still, four young Nigerians and young people of KOGI State were killed because of election malpractice and election thuggery and the rest of them. So you can't, because if you allow this stand, that means you are indirectly encouraging that you can do anything and go away with it, and that's not the best thing. So we shouldn't allow this stand, and we should all call on INEC to do the right thing and cancel this process.
So what's your approach to the polling units that are meant to be have elections again on Saturday?
It's not just those polling units. I just gave an example of Okene local government that in 2019 the president administration, the Governor Adoisa Bello allotted 112,000 votes to himself in that local government. Okene local government is not as big as the Kenya local government, but it's obvious that it has never been said that 97 or 98% no turnout. It's not. That's not true. And in February with the Beavers, we got less than 40,000 votes. So how will you now tell me now that in November of that same year you have close to 150,000 votes, about 141,000 votes was allotted to that same local government. So this alone, it's enough to show that there's a lot of irregularity. The senator from the central has come out to condemn what happened. She talked about the presence of the governor and thugs in Ajaokuta local government at the coalition center, and the governor himself was even there present, trying to intimidating the INEC officials to do their bidding and the rest of them. So we should all condemn this. Every right-thinking Nigerian should condemn this, and I don't see this, and I don't expect this to stand the test of time.
All right, fair enough. Do you have any comments on the other states? We have the APC returning in Imo State, and we have the PDP returning in Bayelsa.
In Bayelsa.
Yes. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think there were any more, or do you really think they were similar to KOGI states?
The issue of Imo, it's not far from what happened in KOGI. We all knew the level of irregularities that happened in Imo also in the course of this election. I think most times I ask this question: do we really want good governance, or we just celebrate my party has won? Is that what we really want? Because in Nigeria, we clamor for good governance, but when we are given the opportunity, you see people celebrating irregularities because it's at the advantage of their party and those that are close to them, and it's worrisome. I can't but weep. I was discussing with my wife when I came back from KOGI after the election, and she said, "You alone cannot make the changes you want. You really want to be a politician, because it's every opportunity given to INEC it shows that INEC is not ready to do the right thing, even when they say they were going to do the right thing. They gave us the belief that in 2023 elections, general elections, the introduction of the Beaver electronics will make a lot of changes. But at the end of the day, you could see that some places the results that were even loaded on INEC portal were posters of candidates and the rest of them, and it was accepted. So it's worrisome. Every right-thinking Nigeria should be weeping. Would you have celebrated this if it was in the days of the PDP or in the days of any other political party? Now, if you said you wanted change and you said you wanted a better Nigeria, we should all weep. We should not celebrate when it's our party winning and they are winning the wrong way. I've said it, and I still say, if you win in a free, fair contest, we will celebrate you, we will congratulate you, and we'll work together with you for the betterment of the state, because what matters to us is a better KOGI for our children, for us, and for our generations yet unborn, but not whereby you ring your way to the top. And I tell the SDP guys to not to be celebrating that they came second, because even the votes they got were votes that were allotted to them and the rest of them. You could see that, okay, look at what happened in some of the places where even some of our votes were recorded. You see that it was 3 and 13 was constant. And how is that possible? So please, this is not an election. I still stand, it's not an election, and it should be cancelled and a fresh date fixed for a proper election, and let the will of the people count.
All right. Speaking about this electoral process and making it better, well, we spent so many, I dare say, years trying to get that electoral act to be as refined as possible so that the system would work better. But we saw that, like you said, there were allegations or there were reports of result sheets or form ECAs being filled before coming to the locations. And INEC even said that they would do thorough investigation on those issues. I mean, if it was something that was easy to debunk, they would have just said that did not happen. It did not. But they promised to go into investigation. So the question now is, do you think we have regressed in any way? Because we expected that with the coming of the Electoral Act, the coming of electronic transmission, IREV, and all of these, we expected things would be harder for people to rig. I'll give an instance of an example. The cable newspaper reported that some of their reporters were, together observing, and one of the party agents was unaware that they were journalists. He thought they were prospective voters, and he went and met them and he said, "Come and vote for our brother. You don't need PVC, just come." And the implication in that statement is that somehow the person speaking has found a way to swindle the system without a PVC. So do you think we've regressed? If so, what do you think we can do to refine it so that even if someone has ill intentions, it becomes very difficult for them to carry out whatever nefarious acts they want to?
Now, part of the recommendation of the Waste Committee was that special courts be set up to try electoral offences, matters, and the rest of them. I think why we are still experiencing what we are experiencing is, if it's like an example I've given earlier, if you allow this KOGI elections that happen on Saturday to stand, that means you are indirectly encouraging more states and more politicians to do the same thing. You don't punish people. I've not seen anywhere anybody has been persecuted for election offenses, and that's why more people tend to continue doing the same thing repeatedly. Because the truth remains, if the Supreme Court even ruled some few weeks ago that the Beaver and the rest of them were not only that INEC has the right to decide on which this thing, which is contradicting our laws. The electoral empire has come up to say, okay, we are going to work with the 2022 Electoral Act as amended, and that should stand. We should be able. I think the problem with Nigeria is not laws. We have a lot of laws, beautiful legislatures that have been done, but the problem we have is implementation. We say it. We are always fast to speak when it comes, but we don't implement them. It is high time someone like this, the electoral officer in those polling units, should be prosecuted and be made to face the wrath of the law. And with that, it will deter others from engaging in such in the nearest future. But until then it's going to be a free for all for everyone to continue trying this. And like I said, KOGI election should be cancelled, because if you allow it, then you are still also going, because it was allowed in 2019, and that's why they have done more in 2023. And if you allow it, then in 2027, it's going to be worse than this.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Danjuma. It's been great to hear from you and get your own perspective on the matter. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right, that is how we end this segment of the conversation. We will be continuing on other issues. Just stay with us. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. We'll be right back.